L4 match polynomials and their graphs. On this lesson, you're going to be given equations and you're going to be given graphs. The equations can be written one way or they're going to give you two ways, just depending on how hard the equation is. So on this lesson, you are going to have it in standard form where there's no parentheses, but in the harder ones, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they're going to give you this option also, where it's in factored form and it is in where you have parentheses and stuff. Okay, but on these, just a little refresher. Notice that both of these have A's, and the A, the sign of A tells you if these polynomials are going up or they're going down. Okay, if A is positive, the arrows from left to right. It's kind of hard. I'm about to contradict myself on this. If the A is positive, in general, it's going up. If the A is negative, in general, it's going down. I'll kind of catch myself on that in just a minute. Okay. Your C, the only one that has a C is in standard form. The C tells you where it crosses the y-axis. So if you can see where the graph crosses the y-axis, find that number that is in that spot, and that's going to be your equation. If it's in factored form, where you have parentheses, ooh, you cannot see that. Let's undo. Okay, here we go. If it's in factored form, the opposite of H and the opposite of K tell you where it crosses the x-axis. So C tells you the y-axis, and H and K tell you the x-axis. And this is kind of where I was at on whenever I was talking about A. If your largest exponent is even, both of the arrows are going to go in the same direction. Either they're both going to go up or they're both going to go down. If the largest exponent is odd, then the arrows are going to be in opposite directions. So I'll kind of go through all of that right now. Go squish. There we go. Okay. On these, you're not going to have to look at 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? If you can just see one thing to be able to go A is 1 or A is 2, then you're good to go and you can go on. But as I am teaching it, I'll show you several different ways of what's going on. Okay, so both of these arrows are going up, both of these arrows are going down, so that means that they're both evens. Your largest exponent is even. This parabola is going up, so that means that your A is going to be positive. This parabola is going down, so this means your A is going to be negative. This is your C. So it's going to cross the y-axis at -6. This is your C. So it's going to cross the y-axis at -3. Both of them are even. And that's pretty much all we know on this. So which graph crosses, or this graph crosses the y at -6. This crosses the y at -3. So, and this is going up, because your A is positive, and this is going down. So, this one is A, and this one is B. I probably could have written that a whole lot neater. I'll try back. So, I'm going to try. I'm not going to. So, here, your A is negative. It's odd, so they're going to be in different directions. Your C is 0. Pretty much all I have on this one. Our A is positive. Our biggest exponent is 3. Sorry. Is 3. So it's odd, so it's going to go in different directions. and our C is 2. Okay? This is called a cubic because our biggest exponent is 3, and whenever it's cubed, it's going to go in different directions. Well, you're like, okay, this arrow is going up and this arrow is going down. You don't do it that way. You look at the overall graph, and from left to right, is it going up or is it going down? It's going down. On this one, it's going up. So if this A is positive, that means it's going to go up. So this one's going to be B, and this one's going to be A. It also crosses the Y at 0, so that crosses at 0. This crosses the Y at 2, it crosses at 2. So lots of different things that you can look at. You do not have to look at every single bit of it. Okay, this is A, this is B. It's going to cross at 0, 0. This is going to cross at negative 260, which is way down here. So this is B, and this is A. Also, this is odd, so they go in opposite directions. This 4 is even, so they go in the same directions. This is negative, so it's going down. This is negative, so it's going down from left to right. Okay. A positive odd, a negative odd. Negative, odd, positive, odd. Negative, even, negative, even, positive, even. So I don't have to look at any of this stuff right here because they are all different. These 2 are my even ones because they're going in the same direction. These 2 are my odd ones because they're going in opposite directions. This one's going down. This one's going up. So a positive even, that's going to be D. A negative even, that's going to be B. This one's going to go down, so a negative odd, which is C. And this one's going up, so it's a positive odd, so it's A. Okay. Both of these are evens because they're both negative evens. And both of these are positive odds. These are both going down, and they're both going down in the same direction. These are both going up, and the arrows are in opposite directions. Okay? So, this is a negative even, and this is a negative even. So I figured out that this is either A or C, and this is either A or C. So by default, this is either B or D, and this is either B or D. Okay, so I've reduced it down. So I'm going to have to look at something else. This C is negative 4. This C is 0, so it crosses the y-axis at negative 4 and 0. This one crosses at 0, which is going to be C. So if that's C, then this has to be A. B and D. So those are really big numbers. I'm not going to touch that. So let's look back at B and D. That green, to me, in my opinion, is not very attractive. So we're going to change it. So these zeros, what would you add 5 to get 0 would be negative 5. Or the opposite of that H is negative 5. That's where it's going to cross the x-axis. This is going to cross the x-axis at negative 8 and negative 5. Okay. This just crosses at negative 5. This crosses the x-axis at negative 8 and negative 5. So this one is D. That one is B. Alright, couple more. Or 3. This is a positive even one, so I'm going to get the positive even one out of the way. So I looked at the graphs and I said, okay, what's different? What's the same? And stuff like that. And this is the other even one, and it's going down. So that's going to be C. So now I just have to look at A and D and see any differences. They're both going down. The Y's, where it crosses the Y-axis, are very large, so I'm not going to look at that. So I'm going to go back to the original and find the zeros. The 0 for this is 6, so it's going to cross the X at 6. The zeros for this, it's going to cross the X at positive 3, positive 6, and positive 7. This crosses at positive 3, positive 6, and positive 7, so this is D. So therefore, that is A. A negative odd, a negative odd, negative odd. So all three of these are negative odds. This one is the only positive odd. So I've taken out A. They all cross the y-axis at negatives, so I'm not going to look at that. So then we're going to look at B, C, and D. B, C, and D. This crosses only the x-axis at negative 8. So which one only crosses the x-axis at negative 8? It's 3, so this is going to be B. For C, crosses the x-axis at negative 6 and negative 3. Only negative 6, only negative 3. So this one's going to be C, so by default that one's D. It crosses at negative 6, negative 5, and negative 3. Okay, looking for differences. This is a positive odd. That's a positive odd. I'm sorry. Those are both positive evens. These two are both negative evens. So this is a negative even. So it could be either A or A. This is a negative even. So this could be C or C. So this is either going to be B or D. This is going to be B or D. Okay. Alright, what else do we have? Oh, okay. D crosses the y-axis at 2. And this crosses the y-axis at 2. So it's D. So this one's B. And C crosses the y-axis at 0. This crosses the y-axis at 0 right there. So it is C. So that one's A.